Hello, ladies and gentlemen. David here, coming to you live from Peabody, Massachusetts.
Hey, it's Arthur, and today we're going to do a video about rent to own. A lot of people have been asking us lately about rent versus owning, or rent to own. And actually, a good friend of ours, Sharon, called me the other day and asked me about rent to own. So we're going to answer some of the most common questions about rent to own. Ready?
Let me ask you a question
Yeah.
about rent to own. Can it actually be done?
Yeah, absolutely. Many people actually rent to own. And I think the biggest misconception, or the first thing we want to tell you about rent to own, is there's no secret database, there's no like one place you go to find these properties, but everything is negotiable. So for example, if you wanted to rent my house and eventually own it, we can make a deal as a seller and a buyer. We just have to find each other.
Yep. How would I find somebody who wants to sell their house? And what are the conditions? Do I need a down payment?
Yeah, that's actually an excellent question. So in most rent-to-own cases, everything is negotiable, but you do need a down payment, and usually that can vary $5,000 to $10,000, or you negotiate it, and that's a non-refundable deposit. So you say to me, "Hey Art, I'm going to rent your house, and one day I want to own it. Here's $5,000 for that option."
So you'd give them $5,000 that you would not get back? Or would it go towards the property?
That's an excellent question. So when you rent to own, if you're the person renting, just to make it simple, we'll use examples. So that $5,000 gives you the right but not the obligation to buy. So all that means simply is if you want to buy, I have to sell. But you could walk away and not buy. So if you buy, that goes towards the down payment. If you don't, you lose it.
Well, a mortgage is 30 years, 15 to 30 years. If I come to a property and I say, wow, this is a nice house for $400,000, I want to buy this house.
Yep.
Do I have to give them $5,000?
Well, see, that $5,000 is just a number that could be negotiated. So we can negotiate any number that we really wanted. So we could start with $5,000. Now, the other thing that's really important to understand is you could also negotiate the actual rent price.
Yep.
So a portion of that rental price could actually go towards down payment as well if you end up buying the house.
So how much money do you lose?
You don't really lose any money because everything's negotiable. So you can negotiate the down payment. You negotiate the purchase price. A typical time frame would be like 2 years. So in 2 years, you'll say, I'll buy your house for $400,000. And if I do, this $5,000 will go towards that down payment as well as a portion of that rental income if that's what we negotiated.
So the house costs $400,000.
Yep.
Hi, Munchkin. I say, okay, I'm gonna buy this house for $400,000.
Yep.
I give them $5,000.
Yep.
Then I spend $2,000 a month for my mortgage.
Yep.
For how many years? For 2 years?
So typical lease to own is 2 years, but as I mentioned earlier, everything can be negotiated. So you can negotiate the time frame. So in 2 years, you have the right to buy this house at $400,000.
How much money of what I paid so far is going towards the house in 2 years?
Whatever you negotiate. So
and how do you actually buy the house? Do you, in 15 years, take the note and put it in your name?
Nope. So in 2 years, you would apply for a mortgage, assuming you had the time to fix your credit if there was any issues, or to qualify if there was any issues. And in 2 years, once you qualify, you now have an option to buy that house at a predetermined price with predetermined terms. And you could say, hey, this house today is worth $450. I'm going to go ahead and exercise that option. I'm going to buy it. Or you could say, hey, I could buy a better house now.
So rent to own is technically securing the price.
Yep.
Some of the money is going to go towards buying the property.
Yep.
You'd still have to apply for a mortgage in about 2 to 3 to 4 years, maybe even.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what it takes.
Yeah, and you can negotiate price, terms, condition, rental amount, down payment, and you could even negotiate what portion of that goes towards the mortgage. So everything's negotiable.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the gist of rent to own.
Usually in the beginning, does all of it go towards the down payment, or 80%, or 70%?
Whatever
or
you
50?
negotiate. I mean, sometimes
So it's totally open.
yeah. So it could be zero. Like you could pay $2,000, and none of it goes towards the mortgage. It depends on what fair market rent is and what you guys both think is fair.
And you should secure the end price right up front.
That's probably, I would say, the most important thing, because in 2 years, when you decide to buy this house, if it's worth more than $400, it makes sense. But what if it's worth $350? Then you wouldn't exercise that option. Unless you love the house, you can.
Yep. So Ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much how you rent to own. If you have any questions or want to see us talk about anything, give us a call on Facebook. Thank you, Sharon, for asking the question, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye.